I hope y'all. I hope y'all was able to hear it.
How about now?
We on though, right? We on now? Okay. So look,
Right, so
let's
we
start
back.
this all over. We gonna
All right.
double back. It's all good. We had to double back on this.
The
We
sound was
appreciate
never on there.
the sound was never
Whole
on.
time.
I think the sound was never on. We appreciate you guys for saying that, by the way,
Definitely.
because we never would have known. But
Hey,
let's do this again. We appreciate. Oh, shout out BMore Pod, by the way,
Definitely.
man.
Shout out-
That's
shout
our
out to
brothers,
BMore
man.
Pod,
Shout out
man.
BMore
Shout
Pod.
out to
We
BMore
appreciate you
Podcast.
guys, man. Seriously, we appreciate you guys.
tonight we give the award. We can't get the sound right.
Right.
Still
Right.
got
Hey,
the
look,
award, though.
But we
You know
like
what
the
I'm saying?
engagement. It's be more for
Yeah,
real.
it
Look,
is,
we
it
do this
is.
for real. This is not for show. This is not for play. This
No
is
script.
for real.
No script.
Now we are for real.
For real.
Yeah, that's-
For
no,
real.
it's
And
not
also,
You can't write this.
we was just talking about how I feel. By the way, I got this hot ass sweater on, so I feel hot.
Feel
by the way.
warm right now?
A little hot. You heard me. But look, we appreciate all our viewers and subscribers. Look, we were nominated for Podcast of the Year in 2024 in the Baltimore Crown Awards. So first of all, we would like to give thanks to the Baltimore scene and to the Baltimore Crown Awards. We would like to give thanks to Real Explosion Radio for making this happen. Mr. Wayne, none of this stuff could happen without you. We want to show great
Absolutely.
gratitude and
Absolutely.
great appreciation.
That's right.
Shout out to
We want to
Uncle
show
Wayne.
appreciation to all of our viewers and our subscribers and even our guests. None of this stuff could even happen. We didn't even know we were nominated, let alone we didn't know that we dominated on the polls as well. And we were elected as the best podcast of the year. So now we are an award-winning podcast. We're going to go ahead and clap it up for us, man.
Shout out.
Bang.
And to the fact, man, I watch Uncle Wayne, man, just open doors for a lot of stuff.
For real.
A lot of things in the community, man, like the doing open mic night. You know what I'm saying? And even into this, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I remember when the podcast was a conversation before there was any equipment. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you was supporting Dad's Raising Men functions. You was doing round tables. You was speaking. I mean, and all I had to say was, I'm over here, bro. He's showing up. You know what I'm saying? One I could count on. You know, and then Uncle Wayne, I got introduced to Uncle Wayne. Uncle Wayne embraced Dad's Raising Men as well. He like, listen, man, put this facility to use. You remember he said that? I said, look, man, he's giving me no reason not to be working. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But the thing about it is that's a blessing to me is like collectively, man.
That's it.
As a unit.
BMore Pod says
As a
congratulations
unit.
to us too as well.
Yeah.
We want to
definitely.
look. We appreciate it, but we also want to extend appreciation to our viewers and our guests too.
Absolutely.
Like, we couldn't do it without BMore Pod either. Like they were instrumental in pushing
Absolutely.
us. Like when we seen the success that you guys had, like that pushes us to be that much better, that healthy competition. So we appreciate. We appreciate BMore Pod, Dennis, Eric, everybody that's even a part over there. Stefan. Look, we appreciate all of them guys, man. Y'all the realest
Shout
ever.
out.
And I mean, we really couldn't. This award is for all of us. We didn't even know we were nominated, and we didn't know that we dominated the polls, like I said. But now we won. Look, we feel good about that.
Hold on. How does that feel with less than 100 episodes aired, though?
That actually is.
You feel me?
I'm glad you mentioned
You
that
didn't
because
even
I
get
didn't think
3
people
days
was. I did not think people was paying attention to us. That lets me know that people are watching. Because at a certain point in time, you know, I would think that, okay, we just doing this for nothing. Whoever gonna watch, it's the same people that watch. But no, there was 2 things that stuck out. A few weeks ago, we had some people that was on here commenting that were from Canada, and they were saying Canada's BMore4Real and all of that stuff. We had a guy reach out to us in the email as well, and he was from Boston, Massachusetts. So I said, yes, people are being touched, and it's not. You would think it would be the people in Baltimore that's close.
Another brother got married. Remember, I said a true leader of the family don't have a big wedding. Another brother let me know he took his girl down to the courthouse and got married. So when you hear stuff like that, you know, you listen.
That's a segue. You know? That's a segue for a whole nother topic.
And to be honest, to be recognized in the Baltimore scene, because you don't think that you're recognized amongst your peers. It does give me great gratitude and great appreciation to be recognized amongst your peers, but it also shifts on a sense of responsibility. I know with those type of titles and stuff like that, more is going to be expected of you. You know what I'm saying? To whom much is given, much is required. Type thing.
Right. But I feel the opposite way. I could care less.
BMore for real.
Flies away.
You know what?
But long as we keep being for real,
be more for real,
and we get that one at a time, because our brothers out there and our sisters too, but our brothers are lost. They got, for one, we got no support system. We got no one who have conversations like this for real. And I love BMore Party. Well, we have few, but we have few that we bounce off of each other.
Right.
We feel. So we got to keep doing this, because we really got to feed off of each other, because we got very little.
And that's what, and people are looking for, really, like, the genuine authenticity of how y'all move. Like what you see is what you're gonna get. Like it's I ain't seen y'all but a couple months. I came in, it was like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna gravitate to that more than this robotic way. You know what I mean? People like robots. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna just walk it down, bro. Like stay humble. How y'all been doing? Y'all touching the community. You creating, you opening lanes up that you can't even see yet. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like,
and we're gonna continue to stay humble, but we're gonna continue to inform the people as well. Because remember, this program is made to deprogram people to what they've been programmed to.
There you go.
So
you still doing your Facebook stuff too?
Yeah, I look.
Sometimes they ain't ready for it.
Sometimes they don't be ready for the conversation. But what I like to tell people is, don't have confirmation bias. We had a show on this platform about confirmation bias, and a lot of times people have confirmation bias. And what that is, long story short story even shorter, is confirmation bias is when we listen to something that pleases what we want to hear. It caters to what we want to feel. It caters to what we want to hear, and we block out all of the other things.
Else,
So I like to tell people, even if you don't like the conversation, let us be the one to knock off the confirmation bias, to give you the other side of it, because we oftentimes want to hear things that scratches our own ego, but we don't want to hear things that can potentially humble you. You understand what I'm saying? The truth, in other words. We don't want to hear the truth, or nor can we handle the truth. But we want people to still subscribe and listen to us, regardless if you like us or not, because first of all, we respect difference of opinions. This platform is created so that people, if they do have difference of opinion, whether they agree or disagree, you get the same allotted space as we do to have this conversation.
That's what it's about.
And and that gives the people the right to make an informed decision by themselves, and they're not being force fed or anything like that. So I will say that we are ultra appreciative, of this, but also as well, we understand the gravity and situation that's at hand. We got to continue on being a light to the people, educating the people, and putting the groundwork in. Uncle Wayne literally was running for mayor. Like we just talk on this, but there's stuff that happened behind the scenes, like you saying, like we did with Dad's Raising Men. I am DRM by the way. I'm Dad's Raising Men too. I'm in there, but the stuff you do behind the scenes, nobody sees, and we're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna really bring that up. But you ask these people what they've done. This platform has blessed people. We had mayors on this platform. We've had rap artists. We had award-winning artists. We had fashion boutiques. We had social influencers, and we had a lot of these things on here. But we still kept it real. You understand what I'm saying? We still kept it real, and we still gonna keep it real
all the way,
all the time.
And you got to realize, just because you black don't mean we all agree upon the same thing. That's the part. This is what we have to understand. All black people don't agree on the same thing. And if we disagree, we either agree to disagree. That's where our problems come in, because you and I don't agree on something don't mean I have to kill you.
Right.
You understand? This is where we got to grow up. This is where we got to stop
and
have a conversation.
What triggers that is, to be honest, if it goes that far, that's provoking. That's an issue within the person. That's an emotional reaction, really. You know what
all
I'm
that
saying?
other stuff
offended.
that's been on you, you're gonna take it out on someone, because they have a difference in you,
and crash out. Throw your
the
life
straw
away.
that broke the camel's back. Like today, the guy, 61 years old, my age, just got locked up because they caught him. He was on the MTA. He actually shot another guy. Shot the guy because they both got off the bus at the same time. The guy bumped him, and he got off the bus with it, and the guy refused to apologize. So now this man's 61, right, 61 years of age. He couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So he shot him. This the part I want to have a conversation with you. Yo, you are 61 years old.
Yeah. You basically decided in that split second that, you know what, I'm gonna live the rest of my life in a cage.
I'm everything that I lived for the past 60 years. I'm gonna throw it away over you bumping me off the bus.
Because any type of time in 61,
that's what I'm saying.
That's life. Any type of time
makes no sense.
And this is why this is exactly why we had this platform. And that is important that you said that, because we need to check the mental health of not only black men but men, period. Yeah. I mean, and I was saying this earlier to somebody I was speaking with, like a lot of times men, we do not hear or receive appreciation for what we do. Nobody never give you credit for what you do. They only gonna ostracize you for what you don't do. They only gonna exacerbate what you don't do. They only gonna tell you you ain't gonna be nothing. You're a liar. You're a thief. And I think the reason why we are how we are as not only as a black race but as black men, and then as men totally, is because we live up to the expectations of people that tell us. Like people say, "Oh, you ain't gonna be ish. You ain't never gonna be ish," and all this stuff. And you are hearing this all your life. Like you hear this from teachers. You hear this from the people in jail and all that stuff. Look, I've been in jail as a kid too.
Yeah.
And I've had CEOs tell me, "Oh, I ain't worried about nothing you saying. You gonna be back here anyway."
Yeah, definitely.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about what you saying. You gonna be back here anyway.
We
never hear, "Oh, you are great just the way you are." We never hear that you are you have talents. You have beautiful gifts.
You know what's not to cut you off, but
no, you go ahead.
What's crazy about that? As you get older, you start to you change the way you think and the way you perceive things and how you communicate with other men. You start because you seasoned at this point, right? You notice that we talked about this earlier. We have become accustomed as men to transactional love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we consider it because we've been trained. Oh, if you doing this, then I'm gonna treat you like this. Or you a king, or you this, or you that. As long as you're giving, whether it's you working 3 jobs or whatever you do, but not realizing those things usually don't give much space for you to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We got used to transactional love, so now we at a stage like we're at a place where we should be, affirming each other as far as like encouraging us to live, and there's a purpose, and think about what comes behind that, and everything ain't worth you crashing out for. Everything ain't a form of disrespect. Sometimes it's just simply a misunderstanding.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you can breeze past that. You have children to live for. You have is way more past this. So many things past this. But you notice how most men are more uncomfortable with that level of conversation.
And also,
don't compliment me too much.
Men are ostracized, and I'm telling you, there is a societal. That's the proper way to say it, but I say societal. I don't care. I make up my own words. You hear?
What's up.
But
BMore4Real.
Right, BMore4Real. there is a societal.
That's what's up.
There's a societal and systemic thing that's going on with the psyche on men, right?
Right.
And that's why I was saying, like, we actually need to talk about this, because us as men, we're expected to protect and all that other stuff, right? But then in the same breath, you told you ain't nothing, right? You ain't ish, right? And you don't do nothing. And so it does something to the psyche of the mind, and our minds are being played tricks on. So for instance, there's a show called Pop the Balloon or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The guy popped a transgender person's balloon because he wasn't out. He don't like to deal with them.
Right.
But the other woman popped the balloon because of the way he don't like to deal with him. So what I'm saying is, like, look, we don't understand the subliminal psychological thing that's going on there. So you mean to tell me that if this man was to mess with a trans,
you would be okay with that?
You would be okay with that? But no, they're not. We know they won't. They're not going to be okay with that. You understand what I'm saying? But that's the message that you're giving off. And a lot of times we even do that to our children. You know what I'm saying? We send them mixed messages in the same way, form, and fashion. That's why we are hard to understand and hard to get a grip on especially as black people.
That's really wild when you think about it. You know what I mean? Because what's wrong with saying that's just not my preference? Why am I? Why is it like? If that's not your thing,
right? But my thing is the psychological impact.
Not the way that I go.
My thing is the psychological impact. So look, you know how a woman would say, and especially in the dating market, look, we are under attack of our psyche as men. We got to be sane in our own mind because this world will drive you crazy. And let me tell you how. Because you know how women will say he don't apply pressure. They just want a man to apply pressure. But then at the same token, we supposed to take no for no. You better not play around with that. When they tell you no, as a man, you know no means no. You understand what I'm saying?
First, so it's all according to who it is.
Who it is, yeah.
Right.
Who it is.
So this is what I was saying about the psychological thing, and we are having so much psychological impact. Another thing, a major thing, domestic violence. Right, men are expected to protect women and all this stuff. Right. Yeah. Let's think about this. Let's be more for real for a second. Right. If we just on the street and we see two men arguing and fighting, right? We're going to mind our damn business. We're going to let them men hand out. We're not going to get involved in that. You understand what I'm saying? But if it was a man on a woman, you already know. People be like, hey, get your hands off of that woman. What you doing over there? So we are expected to protect you, but you're not expected to. But we're also expected to treat you like an equal. If I see you as an equal, as a woman, as a man, when you get in a fight, I'm not doing shit. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna mind my business like I would do with any other man.
It's gonna be equal.
But that's what I was saying. This whole gender role, this whole gender war.
But you know what?
This crap gotta stop. It's a war on the psyche. That's all it is.
The thing about that is, it's so many ways you could look at that. You could look at it from the agenda standpoint, with black families as a whole. You know what I mean? It was always a plan for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was always a plan. A lot of us just don't want to tap into the historical information and how it is still moving to this day, right? So you have that part, but then there's another part. We are the least protected male individual. Like, we are not protected, bro. Like, as men, we're not.
I mean, forget the protection. We are at odds with each other.
We don't. Yeah, that's what I say. We really don't even
protect. We kill ourselves more than the adversary, which is another psychological. I'm glad you brought that up. That is another psychological thing we got to deal with. Our own brother that we would think that be on our side.
He'll move.
He'll pull that joint on you. He'll up that fire on you.
Now I listen to everything you all said. Now let's go straight to the Bible, because God created us to be the leader and to get us, because if we get ourselves together and pull together, we will resolve all the issues. We are the smartest, the powerful. We got everything that everyone see and want, but we can't pull ourselves together. That's why Satan manipulate us. Start to manipulate us as children to say we are not worthy.
It's a plan. It's a plan before.
That's why every other race want to do it. But guess
principalities
what?
Like that.
If we did get our shit together, the jig would be up.
Right. You brought it to the Bible. I will bring out the Bible and say, if my people which are called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face, I will heal their lands. And that's what we're missing. And
that's what we're missing.
And we
refuse to, and now we argue and fussing. We have split everything. These religions all over the place, where it's simple God. It's simple God and His rules, and do what's right. The females, and I go back to this too. You arguing and fussing over the females that way because we allowed it. We allowed it. They wouldn't be this way if we didn't allow it.
But still, the males have to be.
It's the males, nothing. Daniel, you and I beef all the time. The females would not be this way if we didn't allow it.
But what I'm saying is the males have to still be uplifted, and that's why I was glad you even mentioned that point. Because a lot of times,
uplifted how, Daniel?
Just by saying,
you need to be uplifted for.
Just by saying, like, look, just
Daniel,
like.
But watch this. What do we need to be uplifted for?
Okay, can I answer that?
Take your ass to God.
I'm gonna answer that for you.
That's who should
uplift you. That's why we need to be uplifted.
If a woman uplift you, listen to this. If you keep wanting to get uplifted by a woman, then guess what? You have to pay the price.
But it's not
woman.
just by a woman.
Yeah,
I'm
you're not
trying to
supposed
tell
to be
you,
only
have
that.
to listen.
It's not just by a woman.
But watch
not.
this. If you
that's-
get your upliftings from a woman, I'm telling you, then you have to pay your price to a woman. God told you repeatedly.
So
I didn't ask you to get your uplifting from her.
Submit to me.
That's right.
So he's saying
I
order.
gave you a woman for comfort.
He's saying order of things, right?
I brought
Right.
bring your ass to me.
Right.
So when
But
you look
where
at,
I'm coming from,
Make it simple.
is this: life and death is in the power of the tongue, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of times,
You don't listen.
and it's not just males, right? Anybody can go
Yeah.
through this as a child, as a woman, and all this stuff, and it's important. It's a battle with your psyche, because when people tell you, "Oh, you a liar, you a thief, you ain't no good," it's easy to live up to that. And see, that's what happens is you become their puppet, because they know they can pull a certain string to make you react a certain way.
But hold on.
I make it simple.
So at that point, right? I'm gonna bring. I understand what Uncle Wayne's saying, because if you think about this, right, and this is the Bible, submit unto me. This is God telling man, submit unto me. The woman will be a helpmeet, but she's submitting to you as unto me. All right. So what they emphasize that really divide us is the word submit. They made the word
Right.
submit.
But
Submit is poison. Is the meaning to say, but it's the part that as unto me. You see what I'm saying? So really, that means you're looking.
I mean,
past,
like Paul said, "Follow me as I follow Christ."
you looking past.
They
You're looking
have no
past
choice.
this
You
man,
have to
and
be-
you're looking at me. So you're doing. So the characteristics that you should display in order to support him in a way that I can glorify your life through him
And get that family
is
together.
as
And
unto
if you
God,
lie like
because
that, you can't go wrong.
because it goes to what you're saying. So when you talk about somebody speaking these things against you, and yes, we have that, right? But usually, where does that come? Where does the words that come from? Not for those who had good families, and I mean good structures where they had somebody affirming them and speaking life into them. But
Right.
usually, if
Not
it's the
gonna work any
opposite,
other
that
way.
means that person was damaged too
Right.
already. If they speaking negativity, that means now that chain was broken.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so we have to start, like Uncle Wayne said, the Bible was talking about. Let's, if for those who have all the questions, just start with the morals and the principles. If you meet them with the morals and the principles, then you can see how, okay, I apply this. These are the basics. Proverbs is a great book for that. Strictly principles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it'll show you how to.
Where I'm coming
function.
from, where I'm coming from is this, right? People tend to live up to expectations, what's expected of them, and that's why social media exists and all that stuff too, right? When these people get social media famous, when these actors get these famous, they now have to live up to a certain character, because that's what got them there in the first place, and that's what I am particularly avoiding myself with this platform. You know what I'm saying? To just be able to keep it real. Look, I don't care.
You're not following
This ain't
trends. You're not
this
following
ain't about
trends and
that
nothing
or
like
that. This about doing the
Yeah.
right thing. And
Right.
I tell my sons that too all the time. Just do the right thing all the time, even though it's humbling. Like, it is extremely humbling. One thing that I face personally that I see a lot of times is, I'm able to admit, all right, I'm wrong, I messed up there, whatever. But for other people, they're gonna lie, and they're gonna continue to lie on your face, to your face, behind your back, and you're gonna continue to do that while I'm sitting there telling the truth. That discourages me from wanting to tell the truth. It doesn't make me want to tell a lie. It just makes me not want to admit where I messed up at, because I know this god daggone fool.
But
They're
I'm
gonna
telling
take
you,
it, spin it, lie, and
listen,
say whatever.
But tell the truth, because it'll, no matter what, it'll always come back around. It'll still be the truth.
Yeah.
But if you lie a little teeny bit, then Satan will whip it up and spin it all around, because the next you know, people will use the next you know, they'll use a little bit, and you standing there, that little teeny bit, and they'll look at you, next you know, they don't believe nothing else you have to say. But if you told the truth, no matter where they run or grab anything else, they can't go nowhere else, because you said the exact truth.
You know what?
That's why no matter what, tell the truth, whether they like it or not.
A lot of people struggle with their truth. You know what I mean? Usually, by the time we get broken to a point where like, no, I don't care how it makes me look. But we get there to where now
Right.
now it's whatever, and I don't care how people feel. This is me. But if we put those things in place before we even get there, you see what I'm saying? That's just our way of life. You set the tone for not only for yourself, but you set the tone for those around you. Because
Right.
I've also experienced where I can tell a person change their approach and demeanor by the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So much so as like, I'm like, nah, I don't want you to not be yourself because you may see something in me that make you feel like you should act this way. Nah, be yourself because I want to deal with people exactly where they are. If you deal with people exactly where they are, then you can accept me. If I ever make a mistake, I can come to you and say, nah, bro, I should have moved this way. You know what I mean? But now we can heal because now respectfully. And it's not a weak trait. That's another thing. Like everything is not a weak trait.
And you have to teach children that. And that's why I said this Christmas time coming around, that Santa Claus, people say, oh, that's Scrooge, when you don't want to tell the children about Santa Claus. That's real. You need to tell the children the truth. You got to start telling the truth as a child.
Look. Everybody not out that mall because look, I never celebrated Christmas. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Christmas, two different things.
I've never celebrated Christmas.
Never.
I've never celebrated Christmas. When I was growing up, we never celebrated Christmas. Not in my house. And people used to think that we was Muslim. People used to think that we was Jehovah's Witness. Those are the most common things, right?
The most valuable gift of all.
But I'm saying, look, hold what you got. Hold what you got. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If that's the truth, because I was already having this conversation with someone earlier, right? And you know this is BMore4Real. It's difficult to stomach a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about. But like I said, we're going to talk about it anyway. This program made it deprogramming what you've been programmed to. So just don't have that confirmation bias. Have somebody that at least have a difference of opinion in your corner.
Do your homework too.
But
that does help.
But this is what I'm saying.
Research. A little bit of research.
I stopped celebrating with my son. It's been about almost 13 years.
Right.
Since I celebrated Christmas. So I know where you're going at with it.
You know where I'm going at.
When you say celebrate,
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, right? Because the truth, it offends a lot of people, especially a lot of people in the Christianity world or in the holiday world that want to believe in that. That's one of the toughest things to break when you're talking about Christmas and all that stuff. And it's a difficult subject to talk about for other individuals, but not for me. I'm gonna tell you the origin. The origin of Christmas is Saturnalia. I'm not gonna spoon feed you, but the origin of Christmas existed before Christ. Could you imagine that Christmas, which is about Christ, existed before the birth of Christ?
Right.
So we should start there. That's why. I know, right?
But wait a minute.
Christmas existed before Christ was born. Hundreds of years. The Bible tells you in Jeremiah chapter number 10 that people cut out trees out of the forest and they decorate them with ornaments and all this other stuff. They had Christmas. It wasn't Christmas. It was Saturnalia.
Yeah.
It only turned to Christmas because during the Council of Nicaea, what happened was, and they said, I quote, they are mixing Jerusalem with Athens. Yeah. That's what they said that came out of the Council of Nicaea. So a lot of these
but hold up before you go there, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, because
you know how I cook.
You on fire.
You know how I cook.
You on fire. But the reason
hey, Bobby B in the house. Bobby B said he in the house. One second, Bobby B. What's up, Bobby B? We couldn't do it without you neither, Bobby B, man. We appreciate you, man. Go ahead, brother Corey.
But back to that Council of Nicaea. See, when you say stuff like I know what that is. But to a lot of people who usually we're caught up in the traditions, so we don't ask the questions. Right. This is what my mother did. This is what my grandmother did. Her mother did. Right. And for that reason, it just be. And then when you give the truth, right?
Right.
I wonder if you heard this before. When you give them solid historical truth, they say, well, I do it for the kids.
Right. All the time.
If something is poison, why am I going to feed it to my kids?
All the time. Make sure y'all like the stream too, because this conversation. Make sure y'all go ahead and like the stream right now. Take a second to like the stream.
Absolutely.
But really, real quick, Council and I said, who are they?
They were the Europeans, the Constantinople, Constantine.
The Roman takeover.
The Roman
takeover.
And the Greeks.
Yeah, and the Greeks. So with it, because they was the major powerful government that ruled this world,
right?
They needed to find a way to govern all people up under one thing. So what they did was, let's merge religions, and that's how you get your Easters,
right?
Your Christmas.
They are all rooted in that, and that's
all rooted in.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. But really, look, let's be more for real. I'm not trying to ruin your Christmas.
Trying to start this.
That's why I say this.
I'm not trying to ruin your Christmas. Bible. Let's be more for real.
The Bible.
I'm not trying to ruin your Christmas.
The Bible.
Listen, Christmas ain't in the Bible.
But
if you want to find Christmas, it's not in there.
I never said that. I'm not. That's when I asked you all that
about
when
that?
You say you never celebrate Christmas. I'm not celebrating Christmas.
But I'm not even forcing my views on people neither, though.
Not even.
I'm talking about the birth of Christ.
And that's interesting you say that too, because
and
look,
I'm not talking about
my father. I was asking my father. You best believe I asked my people, right? Why the hell we don't celebrate Christmas? We go to church, and the church that we go to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
They really do, right?
Yeah.
So it was the hardest thing in the world to me. And my father was like this. He put it to me like this. And this is why I love having direct conversations with somebody that can speak and answer direct questions. Because I said, Dad, why we don't celebrate Christmas? He said, you know what? Because everybody get a gift but Christ. If it's his birthday, why are you
what's so crazy?
Listen, why is you getting a gift and not Christ?
Shout out to my youngest son. He actually watching. BMore4Real right now.
Shout out.
It's a teaching moment.
I love you. Look, so the whole
moment.
time I'm trying to make him understand that, because one of the pressures is, by him not celebrating when he was younger, he never knew it. So as he going to school, around this time, kids talking. What they about to get? What's on their Christmas list? Things of that nature. So I know it's kind of hard for him to understand. And I'm like, I said, think about this. I said, just forget all the historical stuff. Might be a little bit advanced for you, right? Which I've shown in videos and all. I mean, I really was in depth with it. But I had the same question. I asked him. I said, on your birthday, do everybody else get gifts?
That's what my father said.
So why do we give gifts on our Heavenly Father's birthday, if anybody?
Now, can I answer that? Because my father asked me the same thing. He said, he told me the same thing. During this same conversation when I was talking to him, he said, young man, if it was your birthday and all your brothers and sisters, everybody got a gift but you, how would you feel? He put it in perfect perspective for me.
Yeah.
And from then, I never asked him about celebrating Christmas. And I think I was about 12 years old. Yeah. I ain't never asked him again. But he told me the answer, and he gave me the answer I was looking for directly right then and there on the spot. But what I will say is this. Look, the gift giving and all that stuff, it comes from Saturnalia. We have to do our research on this stuff. I know it's hard to believe. Yeah. I know it's hard to fathom. But check me out. For 12 days during the Saturnalia, they burnt up what you call a Yule log to a Yule god. Called Yule. Y-U-L-E. The Yule god, which is the Yule log. The Yule log is evergreen. For 12 days, everything was legal. It wasn't nothing legal.
Do whatever.
It was a literal purge. They had orgies in public with kids participating. They can kill somebody for 12 days. Every any and all crime was legal. See, what people fail to realize is Christmas was banned in the United States by the General Assembly of Massachusetts in 1659. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Look it up. It wasn't until they revamped it and made it something that's acceptable to the masses that they reintroduced Christmas back into the United States. I believe that was through Ulysses S. Grant about 200 years later. But the point still is the true intentions behind this stuff. The true intentions. What really happened on Halloween? Where does this stuff really come from? What really happened on Easter?
What happened on Easter?
Where does this stuff really come from? It's all rooted in those traditions.
Let's flip the other side of the coin. Y'all went all y'all way.
You're right.
Back to the Bible. Let's bring it back to the Bible. We have to celebrate the birth of Christ.
No, we don't.
Not
according to the Bible.
But listen.
You know what he said?
He said celebrate my death because of my death I got power.
He said celebrate me by taking communion, eat and drink. Listen, unto me.
I know you celebrate the death too, but you have to make the acknowledgement of the birth of Christ. You have to. That the whole story of the traveling and the birth of Christ, you have to tell the story of the birth of Christ.
It is important because if he wasn't born, he couldn't have died.
mind.
So that is important.
But you know what? I agree with that. But you know what you have to realize that there's no 25th is not the date. So
it's not. He wasn't even born on the 25th.
Yeah. If that's the case,
there's so much with that.
If you were
Tammuz.
Tammuz.
But watch this.
Ezekiel 11. I mean 8.
Yeah, Tammuz.
This is what I'm saying. But what Satan is, I told you he's a manipulator. So what he's doing is taking Christ out and putting Santa Claus in. So when you're making the argument that there is none, you're actually destroying the birth of Christ because you never ever tells the story of the birth of Christ.
Right.
Do you see the manipulation of
Satan? I will say this. Listen. And this is why I listen to other people because even Christians don't have it all and all this stuff. But the story of Christ is told in the stars. This is why it's celebrated on December 21st. I mean, this is why it's celebrated on December 25th. What the celebration is about is the winter solstice. What happens during the winter time is the sun dies. It dies on what they call the Southern Cross. You get the least amount of sunlight and all that stuff for 3 days. In 3 nights. So the story about the death, burial, and resurrection of the Son is literally told in the stars. That's why it's other people outside of Christ who have the same exact story.
Death, the birth.
That's what we're talking about.
No.
This is what we're talking about.
The birth.
Christmas, right? We're talking about Christmas.
Death.
We're talking. Hold on. Listen. Listen. Let me cook. After the sun dies, for those 3 days, is born again. During the winter solstice, the days are shortened to its shortest. The sun dies on what you call the Southern Cross. And then after those 3 days, the days start to get longer again. The sun is born again. Did you get what I just said?
Yeah, but
so
I heard that.
the story, the story about the birth of Christ is told in the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Right, you take it away from the birth of Christ.
The birth is not as important. The birth is not. Hold on, I will say this too, and I understand what you're saying.
Why you
Go ahead.
Tell that story. Let me explain why that story is very important. Right. But listen, because if if you tell that story the same way they are telling that Santa Claus story, spend that same time telling that child about the birth of Christ. It's a reason that story is in that Bible. It's very in detail. It's a gift from God. And listen, it is no way to get eternal life if you don't have that birth of Jesus Christ. That birth
That's true.
Is very important.
That's true.
And you need
without the birth, you don't have the death.
Children. Right. So you need to tell those children that. It's very important.
You definitely need to tell children the history, right? But my issue is that story does not have to be associated with the holiday title of Christmas. You could tell that story in January.
Or you could tell it in September around the time he was actually born.
But let me tell you, you don't. Let me tell you how Satan broke you because you're never going to tell the story. Satan is so manipulative that we play into his hands. You destroy that story because you're so good that I know it's not on no 25th. It's not. So you never tell the story about the birth of Christ. You have to tell the story.
No, the story about the birth is important. But
you never tell the story.
One thing, and I know a lot of people don't believe in the Bible, but just in case you don't believe in the Bible, Moses had the same story as Christ. When he was born, the Pharaoh at the time sought to kill him. He had to be raised by Pharaoh's daughter.
You can't get
Christ had to flee
life,
when he was a child. He had to be raised in Egypt.
Eternal life through Moses.
But listen, I'm just saying, Moses is a type of Christ.
Christ is
Moses,
the most important.
Moses is a type of Christ. Christ.
But listen, you can't get eternal life through no one else.
I'm not even here to argue about Bible.
Else.
This is what I will say, right? I will pose this question to the people, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to excuse my language, but I'm not trying to shit on people's Christmas party. But especially if you call yourself Christian and believe in the Bible, ask yourself this: did the apostles who knew Christ, did they celebrate Christmas?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are we associating the story for are we speaking on telling the story. You know what I'm saying? And enlightening people, educating the children on the story of Jesus Christ.
Right.
That does not have to be associated with
Christmas at all. Right.
It really does not.
Absolutely.
Right then and there, that's when the story is switched up. It's like you said,
and
it's
also
a lot of things. And this is really quick touch on Easter. You talk about a simple question. I thought about this after having finding all of the facts and
right.
This is what's happening and it lines up, and then you ask yourself as an adult, like, okay, so you're talking resurrection, right? What does a rabbit have to do with eggs?
Fertility, and they don't have eggs. Right, they don't lay eggs.
But a rabbit does not lay eggs.
Manipulation.
You know why?
Because they're mammals. They give live births.
The worshiping of a fertility god
Ishtar.
We
know that.
Ishtar.
And this is why. Look, shout out my brother Rel, yo. This is why he keeps saying, "Don't be a dummy with a smartphone." This stuff is easy to understand. It's easy to look at. Easter has Ishtar name in it. It's not. I don't get it.
When you argue over that, you forget the real purpose of Easter again. You see how it is?
No, Easter.
Fake manipulation.
We're not going to call it Easter.
But do you tell the real story?
But that's why, listen, that's why I brought up the Council of Nicaea, and a lot of people are going to realize this. They're going to hear it. A lot of people, especially that have been dealing with the Bible and studying the Bible, you will eventually hear about the Council of Nicaea. And during the Council of Nicaea, like I said, they quoted, and it's written down, that they mixed Jerusalem with Athens. So, and they had to manipulate the holidays in order to suit the Bible and make everybody believe that shit. And I mean that shit because it's garbage. It is. To me, it's garbage. All of these holidays, let's just take it for face value. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all this stuff, you spending money. You're spending money. If our black people would invest in giving out gifts and would invest in our freaking kids instead of using this goddamn day,
but that's
do
not
that,
Satan's biggest
we would have
thing.
a different future. We would have a brighter future.
But Satan's biggest thing is.
Right.
What am I getting? You see what I'm saying? You got people that literally go broke because they charging up everything.
Exactly.
To a child that's not even grateful because it's the thing. They get this treatment all the time.
This is what I'm saying. Look at it.
You spending thousands and it's like nothing to them. Not even earned.
Right.
Simply because you're my child, and I'm supposed to give you gifts around this time.
And you're supposed to be good. You're supposed to be good for the gifts. You see how the manipulation, right? You see?
Christmas and been trying to pay off.
Satan is a master.
I'm gonna go as far as to say this. I'm gonna go as far as to say this too.
Master of manipulation.
Holidays are literally holy days. Look up the words that they use. And holiday is a holy day. A holy means to be set apart. These are days that they set apart from other days. So they are high observances. There are things that goes on these days that's other than gift giving. I'm telling you, the true spirit of where they created these holidays is still alive and well, and we don't know shit about it. It's all being covered up by gift giving and all this, the birth of Christ and all of it. It's been covered up. They are doing some sinister stuff in these holidays, and the most sinister thing that they can do is make us believe in it. Let's just look at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a Holocaust, and I can't believe that we celebrate that. When the Pilgrims came over here, they killed off 90% of the Native Americans. How many black people then died on them ships coming across here? They call it a sea of bones. The slaves that you had. Why do we celebrate Thanksgiving? That's crazy. It's a Holocaust. We don't celebrate the Jewish Holocaust. That ain't no holiday.
We still don't get it. July the 4th.
It's a Holocaust.
They showed us how July the 4th. We still weren't at all. We still celebrate, even though it's a Juneteenth. It's
about money. It's about money.
I
would encourage people. I would encourage people to save your money. I've never been a big fan of spending a bunch of money for one particular day.
We just want to know why?
Because it's financially irresponsible. Not unless that it really, that day is of significant value to your family, your household, your lineage. To spend a lot of money on one particular day is financially not
but
good.
You know what, Daniel? I'm 61. Not to cut you off. For the younger, blacker generation, it's time for you all, I talked about this, it's time for you all to change the rules and regulations, policies and procedures. Now, we're in the United States of America. It's time to change things. If we change things here, we can change things all over the world.
Right.
It's time
we
for
got to get to a subject too real quick because we didn't even get to our topic of the night. BMore4Real said, "Great show. I love you, my brothers." Hey, if we could play that video real quick, we got to get to y'all because we on our way out of here. We have to talk about this, of course, because our program has made a deprogramming, which you've been programmed to. So this is very important. We got to let the people know.
But it's time to put them thinking caps on, you all. Remember that?
This was a dope conversation. We had to revisit this
again. To put them
it's
thinking
so
caps on,
and it's so
y'all.
fitting because it's the holiday season, so it's so dope. Let me see. Let's go ahead and can we play this video?
About 1 in 3 Americans between 18 and 34 years old live with their parents.
And while you may have heard more about this recently, this trend isn't new.
Between 2005 and 2015, the share just grew very steeply over this 10-year period. Since then, it's been fairly stable. There was an uptick, of course, during the pandemic. In the wake of the pandemic, those rates of parental co-residence are now about where they were right before. Part of the reason we see this escalation of young adults not leaving the nest or returning to the nest is this idea that it was harder and harder for them to weather shocks.
Nearly 30% of Gen Z said they would like to save, but don't make enough money. And roughly 2 in 5 millennials and Gen Z adults feel it's harder to build financial wealth now than when their parents were their age because of the economy. 27-year-old Victoria Franklin has been living with her mother in New Jersey since she graduated college in 2019.
I saw all of the money that I was saving, and I thought, maybe I should stay home for a little bit, and I didn't feel an urgency to move out.
Not everyone is enthusiastic about this trend.
You guys are making 6 figures together. You can't tell me you can't afford a house. They just don't want to spend their money.
Told ya. 36% of Americans said in a 2022 survey that more young adults living with their parents is bad for society. So here's why young Americans are choosing to live with their parents and what the implications are for the U.S. economy.
My name is Victoria Franklin. I am 27 years old, and I live in my childhood home with my mother and my boyfriend.
Victoria graduated from the University of Miami in 2019 and moved in with her mom when she was looking for a job.
After I saw the cost of living and things like that after I graduated, that maybe I'd be home for about a year.
More than half of Gen Z adults say they don't make enough money to live the life they want due to high cost of living.
I ended up bartending and waitressing until October, where I got my first offer, so it did take a little bit longer than I expected. Currently live at the Jersey Shore, and I was commuting into New York City, which takes about 2 hours each way. And I thought, in 6 months or so, I'll move into the city, be closer to the job, and the pandemic threw a wrench in those plans.
Victoria now works a fully remote job, which she says she probably wouldn't have if it weren't for the pandemic. Without a commute to worry about, she was able to stay at her mom's for longer.
It's a lot harder for young people today to save up for, markers of the American dream than it was for previous generations. Part of the reason we see this escalation of young adults not leaving the nest or returning to the nest is this idea that it was harder and harder for them to weather shocks. And so, for example, if they suffered a layoff or they suffer some sort of health shock or they got in a car accident, if they didn't have any additional credit to weather that shock, they would end up moving back home. The financial stability of young adults, their ability to pay for things if they got into an emergency, was one of the big factors influencing whether or not they were living on their own or living with their parents.
A significant number of Gen Z adults and millennials lack emergency savings. In fact, 46% of millennials and 32% of Gen Z have more credit card debt than emergency savings.
This can have ramifications for setting up a financial future.
Roughly 1 in 4 Gen Z adults say housing costs are one of the biggest challenges to financial success.
The prices of homes has escalated over the last few decades much faster than actual incomes. So it is actually much harder for a millennial or a Gen Z to save up for a down payment to buy a home. And that's something that bears out in the data.
The pandemic did have a lot to do with it. I saw how much I was saving and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be paying, upwards of $3,000 a month and making somebody else richer when I could stay at home, save that money, and spend it on where I want to spend it. Between my job and my bartending and waitressing, I make anywhere from $85,000 to $95,000 a year. I would say about 40 to 50% of my salary is going right into savings. My mentality is why rent and give my money to someone else when I can start to own? And so a big chunk of that money is going to go towards a down payment on a house.
Young adults ages 25 to 34 in high cost of living areas are more likely to live with their parents. Nearly 26% of young adults in New Jersey were living with at least one of their parents in 2022. The median household income in Oceanport, New Jersey, where the Franklins live, was nearly $133,000 in 2022, while the median value of a home in the region was around $644,000.
My dad built this house for $350,000 and was making probably $10,000 to $15,000 less than I was. My mom wasn't working at the time, and they were able to afford a $350,000 house on a $70,000 a year salary with a son. And that is just, that's not even the American dream anymore. That's not even possible. My aunt, who I fight with all the time, is always saying how you have to give somewhere, right? And my cousin said something to her the other day and said, we're giving everywhere. We don't get property. We don't get good school systems. Whatever we're trading off is too much to trade off.
Victoria had brought up some conflict with her aunt a few times.
Your father knows about saving money.
Sorry about that, but look, and that's a good pause as well. This is extremely major, and the reason why we're talking about this is because it does fit into the Christmas season and all this stuff too. We got kids, grown kids that are still living with their parents even at this day and age. Maybe I think the issue is the way that we even viewing that. This Western society has created a stigma where if a child is staying with their parents at 25, 30 years old, then they must be a bum, busted, and disgusted. But I'm here today to you to say, submit to you, cancel Christmas, make sure your kids is good for generations. See, the smart people, they get their kids and all that stuff. They can live in the same house for generations. And see, and it's a great thing, right?
It is.
When you have, think about it. The grandparents, right, are in the home with their children. So now the parents who are able to work and of age still when they work in prime, you go to work, you don't have to pay for daycare. Grandma and granddaddy in the house raising and instilling the same things that you instilling while you go out and make sure, and they still getting their retirement funds and all that stuff. We can't live in houses with multi-families like that. It's glad to see that some of us as Americans do. They obviously do.
Not by choice. Most of us gonna do it
and
by
this is not
choice,
just a black issue. This is an American issue. This is a Western society issue. We are so used to putting our children out and forcing them to be something before they can even become something of themselves. At 18, what the you gonna do when you leave the house?
You don't really know nothing.
There's a lot of kids at 18 that still ain't even start college yet. They still in school, about to get out of high school and stuff like that. It's ridiculous, and that's why I was saying that that Christmas is an attack on us and stuff like that, because we have grown people, adults, and she's about to have a child. This lady's 27 years old. Is she married? Something like that. She got a boyfriend. Their whole family stays with their family. And we will place a stigma on that, but really, that's how you get ahead these days.
And like
it's just
said,
like that's how you get ahead.
We have it's an attack on our culture to think that that is like you said, you must be a bum because you staying here, you still home or whatever the case may be, but not realizing you really bring more balance. You bring more balance to your family like that. You bring balance like. I learned I had great experiences with my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? But my children is like I feel like they missed that because the grandparents was probably working and and even sometimes when I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? We didn't live there. They didn't have that experience. But I remember getting dropped off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was amongst family
right.
during those times. And those things gave me certain values and principles because also too, it wasn't like I'm getting dropped off over here and I'm feeling like it's a burden. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I want to say this too, and I'm gonna leave this up to Uncle Wayne. I just want to say this: in America, you can do the research. I think it is about 150 million homes in America. Now, what's fascinating to me is that there are over 330 million Americans that live in America. So even if every American still would have a house, you have close to 200 million people that still would not get a home, and that does not include people that are really in the real estate that own multiple houses and stuff like that. That does not include that. So, and the fact that they stopped building houses, America is still vastly underdeveloped. They want to keep arid lands. Like a lot of Texas is still undeveloped. Montana, a lot of the state of New York, Pennsylvania, all of these stuff. They have the land and all this stuff to produce and make homes, but they don't. So first of all, there's a scarcity of houses, which creates the demand, which creates a high demand, and the high demand and low supply is what creates the high prices and the inflations that we see. But I just wanted to let the people know, like, building together, being in the same house as your parents, we need to cut that stigma out. In 2025, we're not carrying that in there no more. You see this grown ass man or this grown ass woman, and or even his whole family in the house with his father or his mother or his grandpeople. Mind your business.
But I mean,
how about that? Congratulate them for having group economics.
Really.
Congratulate that. Let's start endorsing that.
That's something that need to be. We need to speak that to our people.
Yeah, but some people can't get along with their family, and some family don't need to be around too. So yeah,
hard too. But
that's a fact.
If it's doable, sometimes
buy them again.
If it's doable, because you got to look at.
It got to be doable in this economy. That's how I'm feeling.
Look at the Hispanic culture and the way that they move when they come to a place. And I went to visit my peoples. And they stay on Queensbury, right?
Yep.
So I'm standing out the back.
Shout out to Heights 1-5.
Yeah, right. So I'm standing out the back. I grew up over there, and I'm looking to the left, and I'm like, man, there's a whole group of maybe 4 houses in a row, Hispanic families. When that happened, Spalding Avenue.
Yeah. True fact.
But you know what it was? And I said they know. First of all, they're fearless. They come here as a community, and at the same time, not that they don't have their flaws, but one thing I can say, when it comes to moving as a community, they are in there. They got it down pat.
Right.
It's probably 4 families in there. Now let's be honest.
Right.
We probably can't do that.
And that's what I was saying.
Can't do
I don't know. Have you ever heard this though?
Kids, but at the same time,
have you ever heard?
We can do 2 families.
Have you ever heard this though? That 2 women can't share the same kitchen.
I've heard that.
2 men can't share the same cave.
I've heard that.
I've heard that growing up, and I was like, "This is
wild. Only one man can get the big.
Only
piece
one
of
man. 2.
Yeah. Only one man get the.
This
big
chair
piece of
is
chicken.
specifically for the man in the house. But you got 2 men in the house.
Before you hit there, that's where I was getting ready to go. Remember, I'm 61. I've seen some things in my time.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
We don't get along.
And that's why. But that's why I was saying, and it's important. Before we start doing all this elections and all this stuff, it's very important. Like I said, and see, I believe in the Bible, but it doesn't take away from what Elijah Muhammad said. Elijah Muhammad said that politics. How do you say it? Politics without economics is like symbolism without substance. Okay. So I mean, we have no substance in what we're doing. We are literally throwing our kids away at 18 and 21, and they ain't even have a time to develop their careers, their future, their life, or none of that stuff. Because really, honestly, when you look at it in this Western society, you would have to at least build yourself up 10 years seniority or something to have some type of seniority in a company and make strides. I'm talking about at least 10 years. Now it might be like 20. Yeah. Now it might be like 20, 25. So you're talking about a person that didn't even live 25 years old yet.
Right. We wouldn't have to do this. Our issue is we don't have a support system.
Right.
If we had a support system at the children at a younger age, because our children develop real quick. If we spent time with them.
Right.
Our problem, we don't. If we spend time with them, we don't have to bunch up. We are not that tight. We don't have to group up in our whole family, spend together. We don't. We can spread out and get a lot of things done. If we spent time with them when they're young. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what they need.
You have to
for a fact.
You have to balance. You have to balance because you always hear this, This the wave of technology, this, that, and the other. But technology should not be raising your kids. It has to be a balance.
What Dr. Umar said? He said, TikTok your baby daddy. He said, Instagram your baby mama.
and because you gotta think the algorithms are learning who's on there, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you don't really know if you think, okay, all right, we got Junior over in the corner, been on the iPad for like 2 hours.
Right.
We really don't know what he saw in 2 hours.
Right.
And we really not.
Or what he's supposed to.
Yeah, man.
Man, I had my kids. I gave them the YouTube Kids, right? And they had the Moo Moo character on there that was encouraging kids to unalive themselves. This Moo Moo character.
I remember that. I remember that.
It was crazy. And it was heart wrenching to know that my son was watching them because they were saying it. I seen it on the news, and then I go look on my son's thing, and sure enough, he saw Moo Moo or Moo Moo, whatever the heck his name was. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
I come into if I give my kids space, but if they in there for a minute, I just walk in. Hey, what you doing? What you up to?
That's what you have to.
Let me see.
What
you looking at?
Right.
You know what I mean?
We know
randomly though.
Right. We
Cell
know
check.
Our children. You have to. We know our children.
Right.
We
know what they see,
idle
man.
time.
Right. Idle time, idle minds, never good. Devil's playground.
So we know what we have to do. That's why I say rules and regulations, policies and procedures have to change
structure.
For ours. We do. Those crime plans that they have is only going to lock them up for longer and punish them more. That's not going to change anything.
For one, they changing laws where they taking their lives. Like,
right.
So if you taking a 15-year-old child and you give him 30 years,
and that's the reason why we having this platform, because we need a lot of our people to understand the gravity. I know I say it all the time, but it's extra and it's ultra important. If you're a police officer, right? Think about it. You're a black police officer and you got this little black kid that just did this crime, minor crime. Why would you arrest him and give him a record? Wake up. Wake up. Talk to that young man. Get the daylights out of him. I don't care. But don't give him a freaking record.
Don't put
you a judge, right? Black judge, right? For the same crime, a black man and a white man commit the same crime. A black man gonna get more time than a white man for the same exact crime. It's proven over and over again.
Because they want to prove a point.
Because it's white judges.
Because
they bias
point.
and their prejudice is towards their white counterparts, which is not. It's not I don't have a problem with that. Look, this BMore4Real.
Right.
My problem is when people sell out their own kind for their benefit. I don't got no problem with white people looking out for white people. I don't have no problem with Vietnamese looking out for Vietnamese.
When it comes to
Chinese
us,
for Chinese.
They want to prove
Mexicans
a point.
for Mexicans. I have no problem with that, right? My problem is we need a little bit of that juice for ourselves.
That's a fact.
We need to extend that leniency to ourselves. It's ultra important. If you're a judge, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you need to look out for your people. You need to extend us some grace. It's not wrong. Matter of fact, they do it. Stop letting them people fool you and thinking that it's taboo. Stop letting them people put you in office, and then when you say you're going to do stuff for black people, you get tricked out of doing that because they're going to reverse racism you and pull a racism card like you racism, not knowing that when these people get in office, the first thing they do, they don't even hesitate. They look out for their own people.
Because you know that's the way that they put them in a position to say, yeah, we'll give you this, we'll offer you this, and then the black person usually say, well, I gotta look out for my family.
Right.
We don't look.
No more gatekeeping.
Your family is not everybody at that point.
Right.
Like I have to step. I mean, you see
that's
that.
What happens.
You see that in sports all the time.
Right.
That's what happens with us.
You see that in sports all the time. They can only speak up to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying?
Those are ones we elected to look out for us. That's what happens.
Yeah.
They're so easy to be bought out like that.
Quick, fast.
Yeah.
And that goes back to your Martin Luther Kings. It goes back to all of those great men that we was taught.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Marcus Garvey, all of them.
That we was taught. They people don't want to tarnish that name, but at the same time, that's not taken away from the fact that they were great men put in position. But when you ask yourself, there was a level that they went to where, okay, this is as far as we're gonna go.
Right.
But they ushered in a mindset to that generation.
And that's what I was saying, man. Don't be ashamed.
Okay with stuff that we shouldn't have been okay with.
This is what I'm saying.
I mean?
Don't be ashamed. We can't be ashamed of that stuff. If we're ashamed of doing the right thing and stuff like that, then we are being co-hoaxed and hoaxed and all of this other stuff.
I feel like different from the hand that was behind.
I just keep telling you.
You know what I mean?
We working for the weapons.
I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying. If we going up
people keep
the system
thinking that
and
they don't
injustices,
think that God
we gotta
is
do
watching.
it.
That's when people don't understand because they keep thinking people don't see them, they're getting away with it. People don't understand God is watching.
They don't see the play
Right.
too. Look at the play. But look at the play. Now they are. This is the play. We gonna let you get. We'll allow you to get all the power that you feel as though you need after we finish making you usher your people into whatever agenda we need, and then we gonna book you. Now you notice.
We gonna
We
gonna watch you lead your people right to the slaughter.
Black men after they finish leading us to some type of mindset, and they think they comfortable, they pull out a scandal. We got you having sex with minors. We got you woo, all types of stuff. And you know what?
They gonna Bill Cosby
he was the first one they ran that play on. And the thing about that is, it's about now we gonna damage your legacy. So your legacy gonna be tarnished. You're gonna always be associated with the fact that you was a pedophile, or even think about it. Even if they never find it true, they gonna bring it up every time they speak on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And also with the banks, though, I'm telling you, it's important. The banks, the housing, we are discriminating on so many levels, man. Appreciate Nika the Guards. My niece Nika in the building. She done shouted us out. Appreciate you, Nika. BMore Paul said, great show. Love you, my brothers, man. We appreciate y'all, man. I would just say like this, because there are housing disparities, there are jail disparities, there are medical disparities. A lot more black women die giving childbirth at a higher rate than a lot of other nations of women. I mean, it's on every level you can think of. We've been discriminated as. So it's important for us, in order to attack that system, that we get our people in there that has our people's interests at the forefront. We keep getting people in there like Barack Obama. You're gonna get in there and then don't do nothing for black people, and then you got a nerve to ostracize black men for not voting for Kamala Harris. No, right. we're not gonna do that, brother. Sit your black ass down. Enjoy your 2-term election that you ain't did nothing for black people and you was ashamed. Yeah. You were ashamed. You let them people shame you into not doing nothing for your own people. Shame on you, because Trump, the moment he got in there, guess what he did? Tax breaks. I'm this loophole, that loophole. That's what they do.
That's what
they do.
Yeah, that's what he did. He looked.
That's what they do. Kamala, when she got in there, she gave billions of dollars to the Asian Indian act. She got an Asian Indian act. They got billions of dollars for her people because she's Indian. She came in as an Indian.
But before that, you know, that's so funny you touched on that, because man, that was a big argument in my household alone.
Somebody said check Uncle Wayne mic. So Uncle Wayne, can you get a mic check? Can y'all hear Uncle Wayne? Oh yeah, we appreciate that, Luke Kane. The mic is appreciate that, Luke Kane. We appreciate y'all.
So yeah, at the end of the day, like, they don't know this woman put so many black men behind bars anyway when she was a district attorney.
Right.
She was locking them up.
She was attorney general for California. Yeah.
So that alone, now I don't know. I just want us, like, let's stop gravitating to everything because it's black.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's do some research on it. Like, let's gravitate to what's behind the agenda. You know what I mean?
Because you got them people that play Samuel L. Jackson and Django. They will tell on your black ass. They gonna tell master,
and they ready to kill each other.
They hate your black ass too. And you, I mean, like, seriously,
really mad at
the whole dichotomy, the whole perception of people will blow your mind. That's why I stopped trying to understand people in their mind and try to understand people for their actions. Because people will never let you in their mind like that. But you can understand a lot through people's actions. Yeah. And so my father used to say too all the time, you could tell where a man's heart is by the way he spends his money. You understand what I'm saying? Where a man spends his money, that's where his heart is. It's the same thing for America. America spends his money in jails. They shutting down schools. They closing down rec centers and all this stuff. But they opening up jails and all this stuff. That's where your heart is. Your heart is in the prison industrial complex. So we need the black people that are judges. We need the black people that are doctors and police officers and lawyers. We need those people that's in those prominent positions to fight the power
without compromise.
And I love that. But this is what I had to hit the world with. We need black men leaders. When I say that the ones who've been through something, not the one that wear the suits and been to college and talk that talk. Those are ones who are ripping us off. Those are the main ones. I'm talking about the ones who real black people.
Good spokesman.
You understand?
Right.
This is when I
yeah. You want to relate.
You still on?
You good?
You.
Yeah.
these suits. And I told this when I ran for mayor, I refused to wear a suit.
Yeah.
Those were the times I used to rip people off the most. When I was in sales.
You say you used to rip them off.
Because he was because he was in the, he was dressed.
It was easier to deceive, I guess.
Looking trusting in a way. Yeah.
I won best dressed. Cufflinks.
Yeah.
Was on the suit. I was best dressed. You couldn't tell me. I wore a suit and I wore them well.
Right.
That's when I crack your head wide open.
For that checkbook, boy.
Yeah.
Trying to get that car.
Everything. When you came in there, no problem.
Yeah.
But I knew it was. But that's what, and I'm telling you, I hate to say this, but our black folks, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear sweet nothings and promises you'll never meet. But that's what we want.
I got a saying. I always say, we love fluffy God. You know what I mean?
The fluffy,
like
the furry.
Yeah, the fluffy God, bro. Like we sign. It's okay as long as, oh yeah, he's gonna bless me. Oh yeah, everything great.
Right.
But then there's a portion in there in the during that time while you thinking about the goodness and what God can do, how He can bless you, and just this, just to make a point.
Right.
There's a journey along that way. It's called testing. It's called faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's called it's not going to stop the waves from moving. You got to still be able to walk on water, get to them. You know what I mean? We don't like that part because it don't make us feel good. You know what I mean? But
because sometimes God gonna tell you, this is not going to be a good day. This might be a bad day.
But I'm with you though.
But I'm with you. Get your attention, and every day is not a good day. This is what I try to tell people. So now I'm real. I'm not wearing no suit. I am who I am. I'm trying to tell you it is time to wake up and get your shit together.
For a fact.
But you know what? When you want real change and like real, when you think about what's effective, the most effective communication is one that's just transparent, and you can really feel that this is what this person say it is. That breaks down barriers. That breaks down
honest communication
walls and things. Everything. And then you'll wonder, your mic. And then you'll wonder, like, man, I ain't expect for him to open up and say that, or her to say that particular thing,
right?
But because you wasn't even doing it for that purpose. You were just being yourself and being authentic, being transparent.
Yeah,
but it opens doors.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because us as humans, and we got to realize we got a conscience and we able to think about stuff. Animals really act on instinct, but they classify us as animals. But I don't believe that we're animals. Neither do I believe we evolved from animals. But as I digress, I wanted to say a lot of times people do the right things for the wrong reasons, and sometimes people do the wrong things for the right reasons, and it will trip you the hell out. If you really think about it and focus it a lot. And that's what I was talking about. It's an attack on people's psyche because what is supposed to be right is seen as wrong, and what's supposed to be wrong is seen as right. And so
it said those days would come though.
Right. And these are the times that we're living in.
Biblical prophecy.
And so I want to deprogram the people and keep people back to their sanity. You know what I'm saying? The people, I want to tell you this. We have confirmation bias. A lot of people have itching ears, right? The people that actually do care about you, and my father said this too, and it makes sense. The people that actually do care about you, they're going to tell you when you mess up.
They're going to get on your nerves the most.
We don't be wanting to hear that from people, though. We never really want to hear that from people because we got confirmation bias. We surround ourselves with people that's going to uplift us, with people that's never going to speak up. But if they really, truly love you, they are going to speak up. They're going to say, bro, you need to get a shower. They're going to say, bro, you need to get yourself together. You need a job,
crazy.
Whatever. They're going to tell you whatever it may be. Those are the ones that care about you because they want to see you do better. The ones that truly don't care about you is the ones that constantly lying to your face. So
and you'll find out. Look, you'll find out who they are the moment that something else caused you to change the way you move.
Right.
And they wasn't involved in it.
Right.
It's like, and if they'll start acting like something's off about you.
Right.
And that right there, that exposes them.
Right. And that's a manipulation thing. But also, man, I know we ran on a lot of time. We can go on and on, man.
Definitely.
We appreciate all of Baltimore, man. We appreciate all of Baltimore and all of our viewers and subscribers, man. We are now the podcast of the year 2024. We could not do this.
And then some.
We could not do this without you guys, man. Seriously, man. Shout out to the Most High, first and foremost. Shout out to our viewers, subscribers. Shout out to our guests. Shout out to Real Explosion for making this happen. We could not do this without y'all, man. We are now award-winning podcast of 2024, the best podcast of the year, man. We appreciate you guys, man. Keep it locked with us. You all know this the realest conversation on the internet. We rated R for reality. Come get your weekly dose of reality. You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss
Wednesday
this, man.
night, y'all.
Every single Wednesday night, man. We appreciate
I'm
y'all.
Uncle Wayne.
I'm OG Danny.
And I'm Corey. I'm Corey from DRM.
Yeah, and we appreciate y'all. Keep it locked with us. We got you covered. Catch you on the next Wednesday, man.